So now that we've worked with graphing equations, we're going to start looking at a particular type of equation called slope-intercept. And the first thing we're going to do is break down what slope is. So the title of today's notes is Intro to Slope. And then make sure you put today's date in the corner of your paper. So let's start off by defining slope. Slope is a ratio that shows how one variable changes with respect to another. So a ratio that shows how one variable changes with respect to another. And ratio is a fraction. So just a fraction, it's something that compares two numbers. So some key things about slope. It is written as a ratio of the vertical change, which remember vertical means up and down, to the horizontal change. Between any 2 points. So remember, vertical is up and down, horizontal is side to side. So it's the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change. Ratio again means fraction. When you are dealing with slope, slope remains constant or the same for any 2 points on the same line. Slope is written as a fraction in simplest form. So that means you have to reduce it if you can. And the variable for slope is the letter m. So when we're talking about slope, we use the letter m to represent slope. So the formula you'll see quite often for slope is m equals rise over run. So there are a couple of types of slope that we'll talk about. The first type is when you have positive slope. So positive slope is when you go from left to right, and the line is going up. That's a positive slope. Negative then is just the reverse. When you go left to right, it goes down. Flat horizontal line is 0 slope. And a line that's up or down vertically is undefined. So the best way to think about slope is like think if you were a person walking on a hill. If you're going uphill, that's positive. If you're going downhill, that's negative. There is 0 slope when you're walking in a straight line, that's horizontal. And then if you were going down this line, you'd be falling pretty rapidly, so that one's undefined. So slope is just the change between 2 points on any line, and you can describe the change as being positive, negative, 0, or undefined. Those are the 4 options you have. So I'm going to show you how to find slope on a graph. And then you should be able to do some practice problems with that. So let's shift. Finding slope from a graph. And at this point, you should type in the graphs that were given to you. All right, so here are the graphs that we have, and we're going to calculate slope. So when you're finding slope from a graph, you look for the point that's furthest to the left on your graph. So here's your coordinate plane. You have x and y labeled as the x and y axis. We're going to start with the point furthest to the left. So the point furthest to the left that I can see is this one. And I want to describe the movement to get from this point over to this point. So I'm going to describe my change vertically, so up or down, to my change horizontally, right or left. So starting here, I have to move up to get to this point. So I'm going to draw a line just to kind of signify which way up I'm going. And then to get over, I have to shift to the right. So to calculate the slope here, I'm just counting how many spaces am I moving. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm moving 4 spaces up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. So remember, slope is rise over run. So my slope here is 4 over 5. It's the vertical movement over the horizontal movement. All right, let's look at number 2. Same idea. I'm describing the movement from this point over to this point. So again, I have to move up and then over. I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces up. 1, 2, 3 spaces to the right. So my slope here is 6 over 3, and I can simplify that to give me 2. So my slope here is 2. So these ones are not surprising me that they're positive because we talked about this in the page before. Positive slopes go up from left to right, and that's how I know they're positive. That way I can also kind of predict that 3 and 4 are going to be negative because they're going down from left to right. And as we calculate the slopes, you'll see that. So to get from this point over to this point, I have to go down this time and then over. So you're always going up or down first. It just depends on if you go up or down based on the graph you're looking at. So I went down 2 spaces here and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So because I went down, it's negative. And I can simplify this fraction because 2 over 6, remember each of those numbers is divisible by 2. So that means I can divide 2 by 2 and 6 by 2. It still stays negative, 1 over 3. because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Again, same type of problem. I'm going to move down and over, because I'm starting with the point on the left. You always start with the point on the left like you read, and then we just describe how we're moving. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope here is down 7, so negative 7 over 4. That's calculating slope. Using a graph, you're just counting the spaces between the points that you're looking for the slope for. So you should be able to try some practice problems with these now.